Today, I am testing out the least expensive gear that I could find on Amazon. I mean, this gear is like really just kidding, but it had good ratings. For the cost, it makes me skeptical what's gonna happen here. Let's get this open and show you what we're working with. First up in this little box is a fire starter. I had to look at it to remember. I don't remember how much this is. I'll put it up on the screen somewhere. It was not very expensive at all, which these shouldn't be that expensive, I feel like. I've actually never used a fire starter. I just always use a light or a match or something. That should be interesting, but it was like $6 or something. Now, for the big bucks, this has the real gear in it. Ha! Huzzah! 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 All right, we got a box inside a box. If you can't tell what it is yet, it is a sleeping bag. The cheapest sleeping bag maybe that I have ever even seen. There was one cheaper than this on Amazon, but it wasn't even a sleeping bag. It was like a blanket. This one had good ratings. It was this much money. I'm skeptical how warm it's gonna keep me tonight because it's gonna be a bit chilly, down to like 40 degrees tonight. And just wait till I show you the tent we're staying in. It's rough. We will see more of this later. Next up, this one I'm actually excited about. Oh, there's our tent. Gone. Oh no, guys, I might have screwed up here on what I ordered. Uh-oh. Oh no, it is in there. Okay, so here, it's actually, looks pretty nice. We've got a camping stove. This was the cheapest camping stove I could find that had decent ratings. This was so much cheaper than the Jetboil that I have. Like, this was maybe like 1/5 of the price of the Jetboil I have, and it came with 2 pots, a little nice case for it, a stand, and a cup. Like, what? This is what we're gonna be cooking dinner on tonight. This little thing right here. And if this works well, I'm gonna be super psyched, actually. As you can see here, this stove is so small, it fits into this mini little carrying case. Yeah, come on, open. Like, that thing is so small, but is it mighty? Look at that. So we've got a cup, 2 nice pots here, this nice little one, a bigger one, and then I think it's like, I don't know what's in here. And I just found in there these mini utensils that fold up. The question is, can we cook dinner on a stove that's worth like 15 bucks? This is how much it was. I don't remember the prices of everything. I'll just throw them up on the screen as we go. Everything here was super cheap. I think I bought everything together for 60 bucks. And the last thing we have to show you, this is literally the tent I am staying in tonight. It's smaller than the stove. Are you kidding me? This is the tent. Just wait till we open that up. Like, how is there a tent in there? Anyways, I'm hungry. Let's freaking cook dinner. Here is the cooking pot we're gonna use here. It also came with another smaller one. So the first thing I'm gonna use this to test for is just if it can boil some water quickly for one of these nice mountain house packs you use while backpacking and stuff. Because that is the absolute essential. If you're gonna go backpacking, you need it to be able to boil water. After that, we're gonna test it out with something a little meatier. Let's figure out how to even set this thing up. It's got this red button. Is that a button or do I take that off? Oh, I think that's maybe the igniter. Does this thing have an igniter on it? And just like a Jetboil or any other backpack stove, you just hook these up. This is a Jetboil brand. You can just buy these little canisters at like camping stores, REI, that sort of thing, or order them online. You just spin her in. Then we flip these out. Now let's see if this is what. I'm a little scared here. Open the gas up. Oh! Yo! This thing has its own igniter. So my Jetboil was like 80 or 100 bucks, and it didn't even have an igniter on it. You have to use a lighter. That is so cool. That thing has its own igniter. And that fire is pumping out of there. I'm starting my timer now. Let's see how long this takes. While that water's boiling, I'm gonna look at my appetizer. Chili mac from Mountain House. If I remember correctly, this one's pretty good. You just pour the water in. You guys know how these work. Shoot! Water is boiling. Took a little bit longer than I thought. Let's see where we're at. 7.5 minutes. Yeah, that's a while. Let's turn this off. I also didn't have the gas open all the way the whole time, which was my fault. Now I'm pouring 1 3/4 cups into here. Don't want to eat that. Smells good. Oh, that's hot. Where's our fork at? Here's our trusty little foldable fork. Stir up real good now. Get her all mixed in there. Mixing it up. Now I gotta wait 5 minutes. Wow. While I'm waiting on that, what do you say we get a little homemade wine out to enjoy. Shout out Dana for this bottle of homemade wine. He makes some delicious wine. And I'm gonna use a little trick here with this stove to get this open because I don't have a bottle opener. I learned this trick in college. We're gonna open up the gas, hit our igniter. All right, now we gotta get the bottle right under the cork, nice and hot. Does this ruin the wine? I don't think so. I do this with a lighter last time I did it. Great party trick right here if you have a lighter. Okay, let's see if that's hot enough. You just get your knife then. It's better with a smaller knife. Stick her into the cork as much as you can. Be careful. Now get it hot. Spin and pull, spin and pull, spin and pull. You gotta leverage that knife so it doesn't just come right out. Come on. Oh shit, oh, it was coming. Shove the knife back in a little bit. Oh no, we screwed up. Ugh, you done messed up.
You done messed up, Aaron!
Oh no, this is bad. Oh, I got it all. I have never had that happen. The cork like fell apart in there. Oh, that's kind of hot. Might have a little bit of cork dust in there. Anyways, we got her open. It usually works much better than that, I promise. Let's try out our little cup we got with the stove. How about it, eh? Wish you guys could have a glass with me. Oh yeah. Delicious. This wine is 2 years old. I'm so fortunate he gives it to me and then I just do knucklehead things like this with it, but it's definitely been 5 minutes since I put this in here, so let's open it, stir it up a little more. 4 more minutes and then it's ready. Now that I've seen the grill can boil water, it's time for the real test. For cooking the steak, I'm gonna use this jet boil pan that I have. I know I'm cheating a little bit, but I can't cook a steak in this. And I'm gonna have to cut the steak up because this thing is not gonna cook in there. I don't even have a lid for it. So we gotta cut it up into little strips and then we'll put her in there. It'll still be good, don't worry. I've got her trimmed out, just the bone is left. This stuff is gonna be really good. Look how delicious that meat looks. Salt, pepper, God seasoning. Next, most importantly, butter. Too hot, too hot. Okay, take 2 on the butter. Get in there. Get in there. While I'm waiting, I reckon I'll try the chili mac. With a little wine, of course. Yup, yup. Smells good. Oh yeah. This is actually one of the better freeze-dried meals I've had. It's, I don't know if it didn't cook all the way or something, but it's a little chewy. But I'm gonna give it on the freeze-dried meal scale, it's like a 9. On the regular scale, it's like a 5.5, 6, but it's pretty good. I'm offering this bone here up to any lucky creature that finds it. Ugh. You! Oh no, don't burn. Okay, that thing got way hotter than I thought it was gonna, way quicker. I kind of burnt one of the sides. I know you guys are cringing, a T-bone steak, but the other side's cooked perfectly. So it's just gonna be a nice little, you know, crisp crunch to one side. It's really hot, but I don't wanna wait. Oh my God. No, they're not burnt at all. The outside of one side got like nice and crispy and it makes it even better. I probably could have cooked it like a minute less. For a $20-something stove though, come on. Yo. Oh. I do wonder if this is like the first T-bone steak that's ever been cooked on a stove worth like 20 bucks. I mean, people have definitely cooked them on fires and stuff, but. And just like that, we're putting the tiny stove back in its tiny box. Best thing about this little stove kit, it all fits right in there. Look at that, bazinga. So far, I gotta say, the cheap gear is doing really well. That stove might be better, okay, probably not, but it is really nice. It's probably not better than my jet boil, but for the amount of stuff you get in the ignition, I mean, I might like that one more. Enough chit chat, now I gotta figure out how to set up this little tent. Oh my, it's getting dark. Gotta get this thing set up. I think I found a half decent spot between this tree and this tree right here. It's not totally level, but that's okay. I'll make it work. We've got a pond over here. There's like some old garbage over there. Yeah, right through here. I need trees to set this thing up, so we're gonna go right here. It's time now to see just what this bad boy looks like. It's so small. So this is an SOS tent. So it's like a emergency survival tent. I think that's why it was so cheap, obviously. Oh yeah, oh my God, this thing is so thin. What? It's like thinner than aluminum foil. It's made out of that like emergency blanket type stuff, so it's supposed to keep you warm. Oh God, it doesn't even have all the walls though. How do they even call this a tent? It's quite literally just a giant thing of that like plastic foil stuff to keep you warm, like emergency blanket type stuff. And then you string it between two trees with like the worst string ever. Oh yeah, it's nice and cozy in here. Shoo! Come on now. Oh, boy, it is a little tight in here. If you're claustrophobic, do not get in here. The problem here is it's really hard to get out of here. You gotta like shimmy your way out of here. So, there is my most humble abode. This is giving me problems because it keeps sliding down. Oh. I need to like get the rope more taut, but then it keeps, we're just having problems. Anyways, this is what you're getting out of like, what was this, 12 bucks or something on Amazon? This thing was described as an emergency SOS tent. I knew what I was getting into. But it's definitely thinner than I thought, and this string they sent with it really sucks because I tied it here and it's so thin I can't get it untied. In a pinch, this would be like, you know, it's like what you got. That's what it's designed for. Throw in your truck or whatever, backpack, and if you get stuck when you're not wanting to stay out, this is like no weight in your bag, so you could sleep in there, right? But kind of sucks too. We'll see how warm it ends up being in there with this stuff. The really crappy part is you got to put like rocks or sticks just to make it like stay out, right? Otherwise, you're in like a quesadilla. So you got to put something in there so that you have a little bit of room. What you would probably really want to do is if it's cold, you'd want to put like a fire on one end and then try to close another end off so that you're getting like some heat in there. I was able to get this string to be a little more taut. If I do ever use this thing again, which my God, hopefully I never have to, I'm gonna get a different rope for it. I have a little bit more room in there, but there's basically just room for my sleeping pad, my sleeping bag, and me inside this thing, and I'm gonna need to dress warm. Now that the tent's set up, I have got my ferro rod, which I don't really know exactly the science behind these, but I think this is called a ferro rod, and that's a piece of flint, I think. And you bang them together, and they make a spark. Threw some glasses on here so the flash doesn't kill my eyes. Now I'm gonna start a fire. I've got some old wood over here, and this is gonna be the first fire I ever started with like out a match or a lighter. Just old school on this one. You can tell it's springtime here in Ohio because the peepers behind me are in full force tonight. All of this wood here is crazy, crazy wet. So I'm just gonna see if I can get this grass to at least start. I've got some dried up grass. This stuff makes for a great fire starter most of the time. Not sure how it'll work with this though. So far, I'm failing. I've got like 2 little flames, but even the grass is wet, so it's super hard to get this stuff to light. We're gonna need to take our time. I went and found the absolute driest grass I could find. A couple leaves in there as well, and then the driest twigs I could find. If I can just get this thing going, I will be happy because I don't need a fire tonight. I just wanna make sure this thing works and that I can use it. We gotta get grass. Gotta get more grass. More grass. Grass. Yeah, grass. That was probably the hardest fire I've ever had to start, and it's just gonna burn out because these logs and pieces of wood, sticks, whatever. They're so wet, they're not lighting at all. And I'm done looking for dry sticks. I'm proud of myself for getting this fire going, just with a little ferro rod, no lighter or anything. But let's say I was really cold and had to survive tonight, I'd probably die. For 13 bucks though, this thing does work. I got a fire starter with it. I'm not sure if there's nicer ones, you know, what you're getting for more money, but this one works, so that's a pass. Anyways, now I think it is time to sit back, just enjoy the night for a little bit. The sounds of spring so loud, just before I get ready for bed. It is about that time to test out the ultra budget sleeping bag with a brand I cannot even pronounce. What? Giavia? I have no idea how to pronounce that. Hopefully it keeps us warm tonight. If not, I am dressed extremely well. Let me walk you through what I've got on here for bed. So on the top, I'm keeping it simple. I'm just going long sleeve Carhartt shirt, long sleeve Carhartt. Super thick, they're super comfy. And then a thick cotton hoodie, and then a down jacket on the outside, a really warm Cotopaxi jacket. I've got the beanie on top, but then on the bottom I've got merino wool leggings, which merino wool always keeps you super warm, but other than that, it's also moisture wicking, which is really good if you're going to be somewhere wet. If you're sweating, or if you're, like, say you're hiking and then sitting and then hiking and then sitting, merino wool is going to wick that sweat off you. If you get it wet, it's not going to stay wet. And then outside of that, I have sweatpants, and then actually my snow pants outside of that, which are just super warm and comfy. Put on more layers when you're sleeping because your heart rate goes down and you just get colder. You're not moving around. It makes a big difference, and you can shed the layers if you want. I'm also sleeping on my sleeping pad, so I don't have to sleep on just the naked ground with roots and stuff in my back. That'll keep me up off the cold ground as well. Sleeping on something does a lot to keep you warm. There she is. There's my abode for the night. Yay me. Here is my $19 sleeping bag. Honestly, it feels nice and thick, pretty comfy. It is time for bed. I've got my $12.50 tent set up, super thin. Let's hope we don't get a rainstorm tonight. And my $19 sleeping bag, which I like, seems pretty thick. I'm gonna get my little cocoon nest thing here, kind of like the inside of a spaceship in there. I am completely cocooned in this sleeping bag, and I'm very toasty right now. Obviously, it's open on both ends. This stuff, this emergency blanket type reflective material, is supposed to keep you warm. This is supposed to keep your body heat in. Anyways, I won't really know how warm this thing is until middle of the night, morning. So I'm gonna call it a night in my $19 sleeping bag under my $12.50 tent. Which is completely open by my head. Let's hope it doesn't rain. Good night, y'all. You can camp with almost no money. Good morning, y'all. Well, hey, I made it. That most definitely was not the best sleep I've ever had. My back's a little sore. My neck's a little tight. I didn't have a pillow. I woke up way too many times last night. It stayed warmer in there than I thought it would. My head got a little cold, but like the rest of my body was really warm. Man, just the tent, like I woke up at one point and the tent was like on my face just because it was falling in. You can see it's really hard to get the line like super taut, so the tent like falls down on itself. Not a lot of room in there. All in all, it worked. Definitely don't want to sleep in this tent again. Might be something that's good to have just in case of an emergency, but you can see it's like super thin. It just kind of ripped right there. It did keep me pretty warm though. I'm surprised at how warm it kept me. Oh, by the way, the sleeping bag though, the sleeping bag was great. That might have been a lot of the reason I was warm. This sleeping bag for 20 something bucks, absolutely electric deal right there. And there is my tent from last night. Boy, oh boy, cannot believe I slept in that. I made it back to the truck. In recap, the stove gets the biggest thumbs up from me. That was the best bang for your buck. That thing is great. After that, I'll give the sleeping bag a thumbs up too, because that thing kept me pretty warm, and for how cheap it was, you always need another sleeping bag. I can keep that thing in the back of my truck as an extra layer. I can use that as like the sleeping bag when maybe I'm laying in a field to look at the stars, or I don't know, who knows what I'm doing with it. You know, it can kind of be like your junk sleeping bag, and it's pretty nice. The fire starter gets a thumbs up, though I've never used one of those, and that one, it was hard to get it going, but it did get going after a while. The tent gets like a side thumb because it was super cheesy, super cheap. The string that they gave you like sucked. There's just no easy way to like put it up. You have to put rocks in there so that it's not falling down on you. It was made for emergencies. It said SOS 10 on it. It's super small, light. You could just throw it somewhere and hopefully never have to use it, but in an emergency you could use it. I hope I never have to sleep in it again, but hey, I tried the cheapest camping gear out there. You can find a bang for your buck out there. I'm sure I could have found a better tent for just a little bit more money. If you're in extreme conditions, you probably don't want to go cheapest stuff, but hey, just going out everyday camping, you can do it with cheap stuff you find on Amazon, the internet, used stuff wherever. Hope you guys enjoyed. I gotta get going. I'll see you right back here on another episode of Creeks Outdoors. Leave a comment down below of what's the cheapest camping gear that you use. We'll see you next time.